So today we're going to find out how G2 got upset by OGLU. And to be fair, I don't think OGLU were as bad as perhaps people's perception of them, but that perception is warranted when you get absolutely destroyed like they did against Fnatic last week. But then they came out this week and I thought they played really well, particularly here on Ascent. And it all comes down really to some of their picks here, their comp. Because what we're going to see in this game really is Destrian is going to fade diff Nuki, which is not something that often happens to Nuki. He's normally the one diffing, whoever's playing his agent on the other team. And also, Hype was playing Cypher. And Cypher is a pretty rare pick here on Ascent. Very, very few teams indeed are picking Cypher at this point, but they found a lot of value from this Cypher, as we will see. So let's start here with round number 4 and go into it. So OGLU are on the attack and G2 are on the defensive side. And what we're going to see, and was actually a bit of a theme of OGLU's attacking side, is that they were very much punishing this B site and how passive the Killjoy setup was for G2. And that often, and we'll see it in this round, they would, have two people hiding towards here. Very normal stuff to do, but very rarely were G2 challenging kind of the first entrance into B main. And we'll see how that pays off for them. But the thing is, actually, they were actually able to get a lot of control, OGLU, from the Cypher here in B main. What we're going to see is the Cypher's going to put a cage just down here and then be able to cam in here as well. And that's just going to allow them to control this B main space. And that's actually something that happened very regularly in this game as it went forward. That was, happening a lot. So you'll see it here. We get the Cypher cage early in there. And then if we just follow our Cypher, he's going to put up the cage and get his camera just in here. So now he can check that no one's in B main and no one's getting aggressive in there. Now they actually, whilst I say this, get a Fade Seize in here as well towards mid on Hoodie, as you can see. And this is perhaps one of the problems with their comp, that they only really have the Sova to play off the Seize. And unfortunately in this instance, the Sova is pretty far away. So they can't really do much with it. There isn't really a kill opportunity off this. But then they actually go for the Fade ult as well. And this was perhaps one of the weirder Fade ults you'll see, because it potentially creates a lot of confusion here, right? Because Hoodie is the one watching this space in mid, but he can't hear anything. So, there was potential to really, maybe even push mid all the way up, do something weird, really push him, but actually they don't really do much off it. But instead they're going to come back towards B main. But they have created some, little confusion there of where they might be. And I will say that the door is closed here in market for the defenders. So, on the side of G2, they're feeling pretty confident that, maybe OGLU have gone back the other way. You can see we've got 3 players on A here. They have pinged this because they realize that there is a danger of that. But actually, it is just going to be a B main here. And you'll see what I mean with the kind of passive B setup here from G2, that they've kind of already fallen back, right? They aren't really fighting this area. They've kind of had the wrong read a bit, but now they're not really going to fight this area. And that's going to be a big problem because Fade is really, really good at taking this area. And OGLU they abused that fact that Fade is really good, as we'll see in some of these rounds. So yeah, you can see here that OGLU basically get to walk up on towards the B main area, the B site, pretty much for free. They destroy that Fade Haunt. And now, basically, what they've got is they've got this Fade in the back lines, and this is quite interesting from OGLU because they decide not really to make this push. You might think this jet smoked off. Let's go, right? We're in a 4v2. But they don't, because they really want to wait for their Fade, because the Fade is going to be really important for trying to taking this area. And so they actually just wait here on the map and wait for this Fade to sneak in behind. And so that is exactly what the Fade's going to do. But actually they push this jet and get the kill. And now we get a trade from Nuki coming back, and we get a Cypher ult as well. And the Cypher ult confirms that there's 2 people here. They're kind of in a weird spot here, OGLU, where there's kind of all 4 of them there. They really have a choice, to be honest, because they could really go either way if they wanted to. But they do decide to come to B, and the reason is because of this Fade. And so you'll see what I mean, where we get this Fade Haunt in here. I will just also mention very quickly that they've seen the Killjoy here. You can just kind of see the red thing. And then they have seen the Killjoy just sneak in here as well. And so really they know that the Killjoy has to be behind this block. So that is how Meadow is going to die, just getting spammed there. The Cypher obviously confirms that these 2 players are, just on A, like miles away, right? So they have time to kind of, go in onto this B site. They put up this Fade Hunt. It does tag Nuki. He actually manages to get 2 as they line up, but we get the trade back. So now we're in a 2v2, and as I said, the door is still closed from G2, which kind of helps OGLU at this point, obviously, that the door is closed, because now they know none of those G2 players are coming from that direction. We see the Fade Haunt, and Boo is in a really weird spot here, I must say, and it actually works out perfectly for him, because he is in a bit of danger. If, you know, they did come down here and maybe swing this as well, like, he is in a bit of a weird spot here, because he's actually on top, right? He's not down below, he's actually on top of lane here. So he's in a bit of a weird spot, but he knows they haven't come from the door. And the Cypher did, you know, tell them that the other two players were here. So, you know, he's probably thinking most likely they both are going to come from that direction and then, you know, probably go down the stairs once they do. And so he's been able to get into this weird spot. So Destrian, you can just see there the Omen Flash, sorry, coming in as well. That's going to catch Destrian. But because Boo is in that really weird spot, which you'll see now, like, look, he has these kind of boxes to play around, not normally as you would play around them, right? And he's in a really weird spot. He does get killed by a Vova, but Destrian gets a really nice trade. And it's a very nice round from OGLU there to start off. And now let's come to round 6. And this one's a really kind of interesting round. And you can see that the buy of OGLU here isn't great. They have one hero rifle on Feku, and everyone else just has pistols, even some classics in there. So it's really not looking too good, but they managed to win this round. It starts off the back of this. We can see we got a Sova dart here that's going to ping Nookie, and we're going to get a Sova ult coming off the back of that. A bit of a blind Sova ult, other than those pings on Nookie, and as you can see, Molsey, in he goes for this Sova ult, and he does get 2 tags with it, but the real idea is to get this bit of control in mid so that they can get their hero rifle a bit more pushed up. They get, you know, kind of seen by the alarm bot, so they decide to pause again, and then actually we're going to get a kill from Hoodie here onto this Sova, who's about to come around this corner eventually, and so they're actually going to end up in a 4v5 where they don't have guns, but they're still going to manage to win the round, because I think they had a very good game plan here, did OGLU. And so what you're going to see here is, although they lose that Sova, what's going to happen is the Fade's going to come back to the Cypher and send out a Prowler towards this Jet to push them back. The Omen is going to come towards the market door, which is currently closed, and destroy it. And they're going to send the hero rifle down here to try and potentially get this kill, and then come in on a 3-way push towards this site. And that is exactly what happens. And I think it's a really nice little idea. Sure, it does rely somewhat on, you know, you catching a good timing, whatever, for Feku here, but he manages to find it and gets that kill. And then he does really well as well. So we sent in this Prowler here to push this Jet back, as you can see. The Omen's now destroying the door. Feku's put down a Jet Smoke there to kind of protect him from when this Killjoy is going to come around here. So he's got this Jet Smoke to just help him cross down there. And now these players are forced back, right? Because, well, there's pressure coming from 3 sides, right? This Omen's coming in from the middle. You've got these players coming from main, and the Jet's coming from behind. Like, these players have no choice, Mixwell and Hoodie here. They have no choice but to retreat back towards Boathouse, and so that is exactly what they do. But again, OGLU, that game plan OGLU seemed to be, well, if we can just push them back to Boathouse, then we have this Fade utility, and it's going to go crazy for us, because what they're about to do, as we're about to see, is they're going to throw the C's into Boathouse, and that's going to catch both of these players in Boathouse, and now they can't hear anything. And so, although they only have pistols at this point, the OGLU players, and 1 rifle, they're just going to go sprinting up at them, okay? They also got the Omen Flash, which blinds the KO here, and look at how far up they get, right? Look at how pushed up these OGLU players are. They literally sprinted at them. As soon as they got caught, they sprinted at them, and they find both kills before the G2 players have any idea what's going on. And this is something that I don't think enough teams have abused, and they mentioned it on the commentary as well, that when you can't hear anything, sprint at them, you know, like, just get really close to them, way closer than they would ever normally be. And OGLU, you know, seem to use this a bit better than any other team, really. I think I've seen use it so far. Boo gets that kill. Meadow does trade one back, but it's just going to be a save from here. Really nice round from OGLU again. We see that their game plan, like, they had a very, you know, sort of strict game plan of, if we can get them back towards Boathouse, we will destroy them with Fade. And they did. Pretty consistently in this game, it must be said. And now let's come to round number 8, which is a bit of a Cypher round, and you'll see what I mean. It starts really with the cage that this Cypher is going to put down here, and he's actually going to put a cam down just here as well, that, as we can see, the op here is going to destroy. But then, what happens is Hoodie feels like he has to just push away from it, because he doesn't really know what's going on with this Cypher cage, right? Someone could be in here, and that could cause some problems. And then we're going to get this Prowler up down here that's going to catch Nookie as well. And that's going to really push them back. And so you can see straight away that G2, just off the back of a cage and a Prowler, have been pushed really far back in B, right? And they have really not a lot of information of what's going on over here and what's going on in B main, right? There could be a lot going on there. But actually, OGLU are going to come back towards A. A. You can see that the spike was always towards A. So they get kind of early B control and cause some question marks for G2, and actually they're going to use a Fade Haunt in here to try and clear it back and get control back of B main. But by this point, you know, OGLU are already pushing towards the other side of the map, and eventually, as we just try and maybe run this a bit quicker, because they're going to pause, they're going to get a smoke here just in mid, and then they're going to destroy this Killjoy alarm bot, and then they're going to go for this Fade ult here that's going to clear all of this down there, and you see that they don't really see anything off it. They send in an Omen flash, they start to come in onto the site, but there's nothing really there, so they get in onto the site. They do start getting destroyed by some Killjoy nanoswarms, but eventually they get onto the site and they have it for themselves. So they're going to get the spike down, and now we're going to see a lot of chaos, to be honest. This round is going to go pretty chaotic. Mixwell decides to ult, and then Destrian and Mixwell are going to find each other, but the Cypher is the calm amongst the storm here because of a Cypher cage. So you see, we just get two people kind of running into each other there. Meadow's able to get a kill there, but then as Meadow pushes in, he pushes straight into Molzy, who gets one and gets traded out. But now we have this Cypher cage, and this is the calm amongst the storm. Everyone else is going crazy, right? And if we look at the map, this Cypher is in a pretty bad position overall, right? He's got two people right by him, right? Everything's a bit crazy. His two teammates are very, very far away as well, so there wouldn't be a trade possible. But this Cypher cage just is everything in this round, because you can see Hoodie, he looks back at that Cypher cage and he's like, I know that someone has to be there. The Cypher's obviously there. But what happens is, we also get the Omen ult back into the spawn, but now when Nookie tries to clear this on his own as Avova's defusing the spike, he is going to die to the Cypher, right? And so then Hoodie, you know, comes to battle here with the Fade, but now goes back to try and battle with the Cypher, and the Cypher's going to be able to find that kill as well. Really nice from Hype. And then he's going to ult as well, which is going to tell them that the last player, the Omen, is sitting by the spike, so they all come charging in, and Destrian's able to finish it off. Really, really nice round from OGLU on the whole. Good utility usage to get that early B control, and then a nice execute onto A, and the Cypher with that cage really did quite a lot of work. And now let's come to round number 12, the last attacking round. And this is going to show that OGLU, you know, were with it on this game. They knew what was going on. They knew what they had to do, because what they're going to do is they're going to do an A push, and they've just put down this little smoke here, and they're going to drone in, and they're just going to come in with the drone. It all looks very, very normal, but you can see the spike is actually on short, and that's going to come in pretty big, and to see what OGLU were really thinking in this round. So this time they actually smoke off short instead, and they start to come back towards it. They start to really all funnel in here, and the reason that they're doing that and putting so much pressure on this area, as you can see, Mixwell dies, is because G2 have a Killjoy lockdown. And obviously the most common Killjoy lockdown position is this right here, but basically what OGLU was saying is, we're going to come on A. We know you want to put this Killjoy lockdown here, but we're just not going to let you, and we're going to stay here and fight you instead in towards short and in towards tree, which is a really, really nice idea. And so you can see here as well, Hoodie kind of, you know, he's in these Cypher cages. He doesn't really know what to do. He fires out a shot, and you're going to see that Hoodie just assumes that they would have gone back towards the site when this next Cypher cage drops. He just thinks like, oh, you know, they would have gone away now. But actually, no. Hype is still there, and he manages to get a kill as well. And so what that forces is this Killjoy lockdown is much, much deeper. It's up here instead towards heaven. And so that just gives them a lot more space to play with for these OGLU players, rather than being pushed all the way back out. You know, they can sort of stick around a bit more, and even though Fecky, you know, he's kind of stuck, so he tries to just, you know, destroy it, and then also Hype gets stuck, but does manage to get a kill. We end up in this 3v2, and now Avova's going to try and stick the spike here, but the Destrian finds that kill, and now what's going to happen is we just get Boo running through this smoke here to finish off Avova just before he defuses the spike. Really nice round from OGLU again, and you saw like the kind of tactical awareness of, we know what they're going to do, we need to try and stop that Killjoy lockdown to give us that favorable advantage. You know, that Omen is right by A main rather than stuck right in the corner because of the place of that Killjoy lockdown. Really nice round from them overall, and yeah, a really nice attacking side as well. And now let's come to their defensive side, and let's just start with some little quick nice Cypher clips. If you're wanting to play Cypher on this map, here's some things that you might want to do, because we have Sova and Cypher. We're going to get a quick play from G2 towards this B site, but look at this little trap wire we've got set up here. And so in goes Hoodie, and down goes Hoodie already because he dashes straight into the tripwire, flings all the way back. They find the freest kill of their life, and then we're also going to get the OP little Sova dart towards the window, and you're going to see that that's going to scan the KO as well, and they get that kill. And then from here, 5v3, they manage to win this round as well. Really, really nice, and that's a nice little cipher trip for you to use in your games. But this next little setup might be even better. Look at this camera here that's just going to see in there to check if anyone's there, and who is looking for this camera, right? Who is checking for this? Because as you can see, look at that. They just get to know exactly where they are, and then they go for the Sova dart off that. They put up this cage in towards main as well. The Sova dart scans Meadow here. The cipher comes into the cage, gets revealed by the Sova dart. They swing off it. This was insanely good. And actually for OGLU, I kind of question, like, you know, I would prefer them to use this on a non, like, you know, they've got guns and G2 don't in this instance. I would have preferred this to come in like a full rifle round, because this setup was absurdly good. And again, the combo of the Cypher plus Sova, the perfect info, it was just really, really nice. And now let's come to round number 21. And I'm going to call this a fade round, because Destrian on fade really, I think, did win this round. It starts with this, where they have this very aggressive mid setup, do OGLU, and they actually push out here with this fade ult in towards mid, coming across here. Really, really nice idea. You can see kind of everyone is here ready to push with it. And actually, Destrian's even going to run through the KO nade, and he's going to find Mixwell retreating here and gets that first kill. And then they kind of stay around. Everyone kind of stays around. It's a bit chaotic and no one really knows what's going on. But eventually what happens is everyone kind of, you know, chills out. And starts to go back instead. So we can start to run the round a bit quicker here because it is going to chill out, and eventually what's going to happen is G2 are going to retrieve the spike. They kind of get everyone settled again, and they're going to come back towards B. And G2 are going to have, you know, a pretty nice execute on towards B using their own fade utility here in combination with the jet, because what's going to happen is they're going to be able to scan the Omen here with a little fade horn that Nuki is about to throw down there. And you'll see that we get a nice Omen flash here on Boo. He then drops down but gets revealed. Really nice. Hoodie then goes and kills him. Mosley's able to get 1 and 2 but then dies, so we end up in a 2v2. But here's the thing. As you can see, Nuki has just been marked by the fade horn, so they know where he is. But there's still the smoke up, right? But then we're going to get the C's as well. So Nuki runs away from the C's, but there's only 17 seconds left. But because he's run away from that C's, he then has to go try and retrieve the spike. But by that time, the smoke has faded. So now Hoodie doesn't have the spike. He doesn't really have time to get the spike and plant it down. So he has to go charging in. He tries to find Destrian. I think Hype here is just like, well, I'll just live. But eventually, after Destrian does die, he manages to swing out and get that final kill as well. Really nice from OGLU on the whole, and again, the fade coming in big. And then let's come to the very next round and the last round, and again, actually, OGLU are going to do a very similar thing with this mid chaos. You can see that their setup is kind of, you know, all to do that. They're all kind of staring at mid. And so what they're going to do is they're going to send in a Sova drone. And off the back of that Sova drone, they're going to send in the Sova ult. But here's the thing. This was kind of almost a paper Rex round. You'll see what I mean, because it gets very chaotic very quickly, right? Because they're going to send in the Prowler as well. They're going to send in the Sova ult. And then the cue of the Sova ult is everyone go and just run in mid. And just see who you can find and see who you can kill. You know, very Paper Rex-esque. And you can see they get the first kill there, and they're just running in mid, right? And it just gets so chaotic. You see that we have utility out while multiple people are shooting. It goes absolutely crazy. The KO nade pushes them off one side, but they're still fighting on this side as well. We got smokes from both sides. You know, everyone's flashed. All the utilities going off. Feck, you finds a kill. Like, it's absolutely insane, and they just never stop fighting. You see Hoodie here. He's trapped in this corner. He somehow gets a kill there, but then Hype's eventually able to kill him. He ults, and poor Avova, whilst all that chaos was going on, Avova was like, don't worry, guys. I'll be the one that comes around the back and gets 2 kills and win it for us. But unfortunately, he gets Cypher ult, and so they know exactly where he is, and eventually they will manage to kill him. He has a pretty cool idea here. And, you know, he has his Omen ult, so he's going to try and ult the spike. They try and kill him as quickly as they can, but actually they kind of realize, because Boo already used his ult as well to get up into heaven. They knew exactly what he was going to do. He does plant the spike here, and he's able to get 1 kill. And at first I was like, oh my god, Avova, because Avova is very good in these clutch situations. But Boo is able to eventually find the kill. Really nice map, I should say, from OGLU, to be honest. Not just a round. Really nice map from OGLU. And I think what was important in that last round there was, you know, they had a plan and they were just like, yeah, go with it. Even if it seems crazy, as long as you do it as a team, you'll probably find quite a bit of success. As you saw there, you know, they were just unrelenting in their aggression as a team, and it worked for them very, very well. So well played to OGLU, and that is how they beat G2.